Hello everyone, I am working right now on this wonderful unit test. And it's actually a Unity test, so this is a play mode test. And I realized that the instantiate routine does not do a deep copy in unit tests. So the unit tests wouldn't get this level 1, 2, and 3 back correctly, but Unity tests do. But one thing I did differently that I don't quite know if it'll work, but maybe we can get this prefab and instantiate it inside the unit test. So I'm just going to go ahead and give that a shot. And if it doesn't work, that's fine, but it would be pretty darn sweet. Other than that, we can kind of move on to adding to this test, because another thing that I'm really interested in is unit testing effects on the player prefs, because I think that's really useful information to have. So we got this level select menu guy, and this thing was creating that fake prefab. Will this line of code, could it work? I don't know. So yeah, all this goes away because it all gets created by that prefab. And unit testing your prefabs would be pretty darn cool. And if this all works, then maybe all that whole 1 hour video adventure that I went on before, maybe that was totally unnecessary. Right. Okay, so menu. What is this? Is this the level select menu? So, whoops. That, right? All right, so if this will work, I am going to just like lose it. But we'll see. And, you'll know, I'll know. It'll be great. Then we can go back and forth and I can show you the side effect of what was happening before. Yeah, so here we are. Let's go back to edit mode and run all. Oh my gosh. Did it work? Okay, so let's make it fail. We'll go back. I think that's nuts. Let's call it all prefab. That way, if we go back and forth a bunch, we'll see it. So yeah, so all that stuff about a deep copy, all appears. Oh, it works. That is just incredible. So good. Yeah, so in unit tests, in NUnit, in the Unity version of NUnit unit tests, you can actually test grabbing a prefab and write tests against your prefabs. Like, that's wild. You never used to be able to do that. I'm glad I have a full integration test, but I probably didn't even need it because this unit test would have just done it anyway. So we're doing some really interesting stuff here, creating a prefab, loading from the asset database a prefab. We're then attaching that to a menu, and then inside the on enable, it's going through and looping over a bunch of scriptable objects that we've created instance of at runtime inside the test. It's looping over them. It's setting the level on the game object. And the thing that I was racking my head against in that last video, all of that would have been fine had I just used a prefab, because when you instantiate off of something generated at runtime, it does not do a deep copy. I never knew that until I started unit testing in Unity, but this never used to be possible before. NUnit never let you create or instantiate a game object. So I think this is like really a big deal. All this code works, and it's pretty beautiful. So yeah, like, subscribe, and we'll talk about more. I'll record another video on the next step, which would be dealing with the player prefs. But I thought this little experiment would be pretty cool to find out. So yeah, write NUnit tests using prefabs, using scriptable objects, doing instantiate it all works. So, you know, the only thing that you have to really worry about faking is the life cycle. So you're explicitly calling on enable, on update. And then in your play mode test, you can take care of like waiting for the frame to flip over, just like I do in this code here. And we learned from my last video that you could just set the game object to false before you add components, and then turn it on to fire all those events. So some really cool stuff. This means long-term maintainability of the code is possible, especially when you're working on big teams. So like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and I'll be there for you. Bye, everybody.